2, 1.
Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 199, recorded on October the 4th, 2018. On tonight's episode, we're discussing a new Switch rumored for mid-2019, Mega Man Dance Dance Revolution getting films, and more NES games are hitting soon. So, Jesse, play that funky music.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. It is the Nintendo Dads podcast. I'm your host today, Justin Masson, at the helm and at control of this massive dumpster fire of a show that we like to call the Nintendo Dads podcast. Joining me today are two co-pilots, and of course, what I believe may be the greatest band ever, Boyz and Jesse. That's right, of course, we're going to start off with the main lead himself, the flat cap gamer, Mr. Gary Gray. Sir, as part of the Boy clan, how are you doing today?
Oh, the Boys, we get up early, we drink our coffee, we get ready for podcasting, and we have a good time.
Right, and of course, like any duo, you need the rock, the person that controls everything. And obviously, so important, they can't be part of the group. It has to have their own singular name. It is, of course, the Jesse. Jesse Waldack, how are you today, sir?
You two are scaring me with this.
I know, we've really gone deep cut into this. We have gone deep cut into the Boys. Jesse, how's the week going though for you?
Doing pretty good. I watched the Venom movie this afternoon. So that was really good. I recommend people seeing it.
Okay.
There might be a few creepy moments, so not necessarily for the small ones. You know, it's PG-13 and they stretch the PG-13 as soon as they can.
Okay.
I think they wanted to go R with it, but they decided to keep it PG-13 so they can eventually merge it with the Spider-Man, and then not confuse why they're toning it down later.
Right, the Spider-Man universe. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd heard mixed reviews on that, but I'm glad to hear it kind of landed well with you.
I liked it. My wife enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if she was going to or not because she doesn't. She isn't into the comic lore like as much as I am, so all she knows is the movies. So she saw the awful Spider-Man 3 that had that Venom incarnation, and I told her that was a lousy incarnation. But this one's much better.
Yeah, that's great, excellent. And of course, so you'd recommend checking it out. I like that. Okay.
Yes.
And of course, Gary, you've been out on holidays. Actually, you just got back. Do you want to tell us what were you doing? Why were you away? We missed you.
So I took a trip to Spain, the place where you can still buy Amiibo and DS games brand new. And it was a good time, family holiday. Lots of pool, lots of sun. And as you can tell by my rocking bronze complexion that I've come back with. So for anybody who's just listening, I'm still spookily white.
Yeah, you still look Casper White, which is, I mean, if we hold you up to light, you're almost transparent. That's a little bit creepy.
Almost.
But, of course, guys, I'd be remiss not to mention that Marty is not here. And I see some people in the chat already saying, "Where's Marty? We want to have the fanboy Mega Man 11 reaction." We believe that Marty is still in a blue bomber coma right now, where he has had too much Mega Man in his system at a short time. He's OD'd on Mega Man. It's really what happens. So we're hoping that he's going to return soon from the wilderness of Mega Man and be able to provide you that. But of course, with him not being here, I can provide my hot takes on Mega Man. So hashtag payback. Right? Talking about franchises I'd want to kill. I think Mega Man might be the one. But of course, I would. I don't want to jump onto that too early. Let's jump into what we've been doing, of course, and we're going to jump right into the news. And Mr. Gary Gray, Flat Cap Gamer, who is the news brought to us by?
The news is brought to us by Apple.
In case you forgot, we do that.
Yeah. I forgot.
That's why he is the Jesse. It's the Boyz and the Jesse because he controls everything.
So the news is brought to us by our patrons at patreon.com. And I mean, I've been away. My mind's gone blank on how to do this right now.
Well, I think one of the things that we always need to do is just say thank you. Thank you to our amazing patrons. And of course, I want to give a big shout out this week to Third Strongest Mole for an update on their pledge as well. We greatly appreciate that. And of course, we appreciate the over 100 people who are currently on patreon.com supporting us every single month. Helps us to keep the show ad-free, helps us to keep the lights on, and helps us create amazing content. And of course, if you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. We greatly appreciate it. Gentlemen, let's jump right into the news here. We have got 3 news items. You know what? Let's do the one that people have paid here. We come here to see. Fresh off of, I guess today or yesterday, rumors began hitting from the Wall Street Journal and from validated sources at Nintendo that Nintendo is rumored to be putting out a new Switch. So I would say more an iteration of the Switch in mid-2019. Though none of this is like officially confirmed. Nintendo hasn't come out and said anything, but this is kind of the big hot button rumor that landed yesterday. And I think this got, I think, everyone a little bit like, I saw a lot of videos like, what would you want in the latest Nintendo Switch? Let's discuss. So let's discuss, shall we? Guys, what do you think? Let's talk about the validity of this rumor, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time discussing what we would potentially see as a little bit of a change in this as well. Jesse, how does this rumor land with you?
I'm not surprised. I kind of pictured this would get like, similar to like the cell phone iterate every few years treatment. Mm-hmm. Even Xbox and PlayStation 4 has done it. So I'm not surprised. I'm not expecting a major update because all the old games would have to be will still be compatible with this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would one thing that I'd like that I might be pushing it is like a resolution boost with the potential of maybe going like VR with a head mount.
Sure. Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think we're going to see anything very exciting. Nothing exciting. It'll just be maybe a little more memory, a little more power.
Yeah, and I think
components.
Yeah, and I do think and that's a great point. I think what we have to take our cue off is what has Nintendo done in the past for their iterations of the 3DS, for example. Right, like I think fundamentally the structure doesn't change massively, right? You may have some thinning out, you may have a better processor just based on the iterations of new processors come out of better screens. But I don't think that we're going to see a massive overhaul. But Gary, how does this land with you? I see a little bit of you shaking your head on this one.
Yeah, well, basically everybody knows that the Switch isn't the greatest built product on the market, and I think that this is more to do with that. I think that Nintendo have had an absolute ton of returns and it's costing them a bit of money, so it's time for a revision to make a sturdier, more comfortable console. I don't think there's going to be too much change. I think the Joy-Cons cannot change. Even if they make a bigger or smaller model, they can't change. They won't fit Labo, they won't fit the accessories. It'd just be a disaster if they did.
I'm not expecting a size change. This won't be a mini, this won't be an XL.
No, and sorry, go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be more of a redesign of the hardware and dock to stop the problems more than it is software and resolutions and power.
Well, I wonder, and I think you're right about that, Gary. I think like their kind of first batches had some issues, right? But I wonder, like, I don't know if saying like, hey, remember how the battery expanded and now it kind of like cracked things and how the dock kind of warped? Good news, the latest version doesn't do that, right? Like, I don't think they'd announce that. I think this is an actual, like, I think that's a fundamental design thing they want to change, and they probably update some of those things in their after their first run or second run of the device. But I think these are probably actually on-device differentials, right? So things are changing. But I do think you're absolutely right, Gary, that because of the sizing of the Joy-Con, right? I mean, we absolutely know, and those of you that can see me right now, we absolutely know that it has to be this wide, right? It has to be that wide for Joy-Cons to fit because of the railing. So it can't be less than that, right? I mean, it could be taller, but it doesn't really necessarily make sense. So I think those are some things that we definitely know. I think there's two ways, and I want to ask you guys what you think of this. And of course, if you are in our YouTube chat, I would love to hear you chime in as well. What do you think how this is going to work? But I think Nintendo has, and I saw two different rumors here. I think Nintendo has two potential ways they could do this. They could do what I would call, and I heard the rumor, Nintendo Switch Pro. And then I think the second one, and I think this one more aligns with the timing of it, right? So mid 2019 would be what I would call the entry level Switch. So I think there's two kind of differentials, and I guess I'd ask you guys, what do you think would be maybe in an entry level Switch, and then what do you think would be in the Pro, and how are we maybe making things different? Jesse, let's go to you.
Yeah, based on what based on what I said, I don't think they're going to have two different SKUs. I think
No, I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to go one of two ways, right? It's either going to be a Pro model or an entry level model. Which one do you think they're more likely to do it?
I think they're going to want to increase like the tech versus to go decrease it, because like the way I'm thinking, in time it'll be cheaper for them to buy the more popular, more powerful processors than forcing the manufacturers to keep pushing out the lower processing power of the chip. And if they're the only ones using it, it'll be less cost effective. So that's why it sounds silly that it'd be cheaper to be more powerful, but like in the long run, I see that happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think it'll be so powerful that it would be worth to calling it a Pro. I think it's just more of just slightly more powerful Switch.
Yeah.
I don't even think they're going to brand it differently. It'll just be a slow decommission of the first one, and this new batch of Switches will just happen to have the new powerful chip.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Gary, what about yourself?
Well, you see, it's over things that I want and over things that I think will happen. There's things that I think definitely can't happen, which people ask for. I think the first one is a D-pad on the left Joy-Con, because that completely destroys and defies the point in the Joy-Con. And also I think that another thing that can't really happen is basically, like you said, like a size, like I've already said, like a size increase or decrease. I don't see undetachable Joy-Cons being a thing either, because again, completely defies the point of the Switch. I don't see a model coming out without the dock. I know it's happened in Japan, but it was like a special second Switch set. So it's a bit of a strange one. I think that if anything, they might listen to people for once and stick a headphone jack maybe on the bottom of the left Joy-Con instead of on the Switch. In which case it would mean that in handheld and in portable, you could actually jack your headphones into the controller.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be stuff like that. I think it's just going to be little tweaks here or there. Maybe change the actual sticks on the Joy-Cons, because they're prone to getting dust in them. So if anybody's had a drifting issue, you can just put some compressed air in and it works fine, which has happened to my little brother on 2 different Joy-Cons. Neither of them have to be sent off to repair.
That happened to my son, though. We didn't try air. We should try that.
Yeah, that's works on both.
He ended up just buying another set of Joy-Con.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just going to be quality increase. I'm with Jesse. I don't think this is going to be what people think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be, hey, here's Switch 2 with 1080 screen portable, so it sits into a VR headset, which I think would probably be the most likely of things as an upgrade. But I just don't think it's going to be this big, robust, more powerful version that people are thinking of.
I do agree with Tim in the chat. Probably, Bluetooth capabilities for wireless headsets.
But see, the trouble is that the Switch does have that capability. It does have that capability. It's Bluetooth, and it can communicate with like 16 items, I think it is. So it has that capability. It's just unlocking it.
Yeah, I think that I think Nintendo's got a couple. And again, if I use the word like Switch Pro, if you would, and then Junior Switch, I think. I mean, if we were to do if there was a Switch Pro thing, I think you're kind of right about everything you've said. The Joy-Cons, for example. I think what we could potentially see there is a larger internal hard drive to start us off with instead of the 30. Is it 16 or 32? I can't remember now. 32 is it? 32. So I mean, they could throw in a 128, still not be enough for what we actually need, but it's a nice start as a basic hard drive. You could strengthen the kickstand at the very back of it, right? Make that a bit more sturdy. You could, depending on the LED screens, potentially make that and then sturdier or better one potentially.
Glass fronted as well.
Yeah, and then I think you could, and I could almost see like this is part of a bundle, right? And in there is you get your regular Joy-Cons. But then there's one Joy-Con that is an official Nintendo D-pad Joy-Con, and it's like for pro players or whatever it is, and it's got more of a grain, more of a metal shine and grain look to the actual Joy-Cons that was specific. And then I would actually think potentially the dock might have, I don't know, an extra output potentially. And then I think included in there could be like headphones that are actual like Nintendo official issued USB, Bluetooth, with microphone headphones that kind of do everything, right? And this is what they would call the pro set, right? And so it kind of satisfies like all that those weird wires. So it's and that's in kind of an exclusivity of it. So that would be one of the ways I think of it. But I do think again it's just small iterations. I don't think we're going to see anything massive changing here.
Yeah, I think the dock is something that surely has to change because I mean mine scratches my Switch really bad now. It didn't to start with, but luckily. Screen protector straight away. But yeah, I mean, I literally just think of the quality of life thing. Like I said, as you're talking about the screen, I think people want a glass fronted screen because you can't play it in the sun without hideous reflection. It's going to be little quality changes like that. I don't think this is going to be I think it's going to look the same essentially, except like maybe the kickstand stretches the entire back, like you said.
Yeah, maybe better battery life as well. I think.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be like what the iPhone S's are to the normal ones. They're not too different, but they're enough to notice little things. Yeah, I can't see a full-on process enhanced version, and I definitely can't see them doing the 2DS thing with it either.
Yeah. Well, another alternative thing that they could do is they're going to want to find a cheaper route than the current $300 unit because Pokemon Gen 8's coming.
Yeah.
Later 2019.
Yeah, and that's a little bit one of the reasons why I almost think so. I mean, so as much as like my brain kind of understands what the Pro version could look like, what I would call the Junior or the Starter edition of the Nintendo Switch would very much be almost and the reason I bring this up, and most people in the chat are going to yell at me like, "What are you saying? You're crazy." If we think it is a mid-February maybe announcement, so late February release. The 3DS is starting to definitely wean its way off, right? We've got less games. Nintendo has to have a replacement in the market for that. And I think this is where they begin to have the new Junior 3D or the new Junior Switch. I do agree with you, Jesse, Gary. I think it's still detachable Joy-Cons. It has to be. But I also think it is maybe more durable body. Right, more kind of I don't want to say kid friendly, but a little bit. Let's all be honest, right? Like the 2DS was built like a Fisher Price machine, right? You could beat the hell out of that thing; it wasn't going anywhere. You could run it over; it wasn't going to go anywhere.
So are you still thinking like the same dimensions, but smaller screen and more armor?
I think so. I think the exact same dimensions, but for the kid version, it is almost what we're seeing in Japan. It is no dock. It is a USB charge, but the body is maybe a bit more sturdy built and a bit more like the kickstand is a bit sturdier as well. So not huge changes, but enough that you can reduce the price point down to $150 as opposed to $300, which fits very nicely into that 3DS spot. Right there. And then I think you align that with the end of 2019 with the new Pokemon coming out, that thing moves like gangbusters because inevitably. And although I've said so many times the 3DS isn't dead, the 3DS isn't dead, it's not dead. It's slowly kind of weaning down, and Nintendo is going to want to fill that gap with something else. And as much as everyone's like, they're going to do a Junior Switch, they are going to do a Junior Switch in some way. I think the timing of it makes sense, where it is kind of ready for a late 2019, early 2020, which gives the 3DS one more year to kind of squeeze the life out of it. That's my thoughts. That's my hot take. What do you guys think?
I think the 3DS is definitely in decline. As much as people want it dead, it's not yet but it is working its way there. I mean, if I could choose anything that I'd wish that this new iteration of the Switch would be, it would actually be a replacement for the 3DS. You know, I'd rather it be the same Switch, scaled down, hardwired in Joy-Cons, D-pad, but
would you,
Pro
sorry,
controller sticks.
just to clarify that, you would want hardwired in D-pad or hardwired in Joy-Cons?
Wow.
This is what I'd like as a dream. This is not what I think a business should do, though. I think the minute that they take those Joy-Cons and mold them into the same in with the screen is the minute that it's no longer a Switch.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But what I'd want is basically a 3DS version of the Switch. Small screen, but, you know, the actual Pro sticks, D-pad, all that sort of stuff. That is what I'd want. I just think it'd be stupid, really stupid of Nintendo. So it's a possibility, and it's definitely coming out next year.
Nice.
And it's going to be called something stupid like the Switch Mini Pro HD Icon Dinky Galaxy Edition.
Galaxy Edition, yeah, absolutely.
Because remember, the 2DS launched the same day as XY. So that's why I think they have something up their sleeves for a reduced price Switch compatible system to play Gen 8 games.
Yeah, and I'd say I wouldn't be shocked if we see this as an announcement at E3 with kind of a November or October release date, again, aligned with Pokemon perfectly. So, Jesse, I'm going to take a quick pause here and ask a question. What are they playing in the background on that screen behind you?
Smash.
Okay, that's what I've been watching it, and it's been interesting to see so far. I love it.
Okay.
Let's see what our
people on the YouTube can't see it because I have my window view like that big. But yeah, you two can see it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see what else our chat is saying about it as well. Tim, I always seem to be playing handheld. Absolutely. Bluetooth audio. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So some good stuff in here. Peter mentions better battery life, slighter, bigger screen, 100 gigabyte internal hard drive. So great stuff in there, guys. Well,
can I ask you guys a question? A quick question, right?
Nope.
Okay, fine. Everyone wants the bigger hard drive. What if they just bundled in an SD card? Wouldn't you be happy with that?
Depends on the size. Because if it's a small SD card, it's garbage because you have to upgrade it anyway.
Yeah, but to be fair, no matter what the hard drive size, you're going to buy an SD card anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least internal
you
storage,
have a choice, though.
At least internal storage stacks on your SD card.
Yeah.
Or maybe a second SD card slot.
Yeah.
Then Marty can use both cards at the same time again.
Because the reason I asked this is because the Wii U came in two variants, white and black. One was 8 gig, one was 32 gig, and it made no difference to me at all.
And one of them was a mistake.
When I changed over to the black one, which was pointless, I'd still use the same external hard drive, and nothing changed.
Yeah. I mean, I think nowadays, I think you have to, as a company that transitions as well as they have to digital and is promoting. And say, here's the thing. I mean, and they're also promoting digital hard, right? When you buy digitally, you get better My Nintendo points and stuff like that. You have to have a bigger hard drive. You have to be able to do that. Now, Nintendo does well for being able to compress their games to a reasonable size, right? But we also look at third parties that are like, hey, here's 16 gig downloads for games. That's a bit ridiculous, right? So I do think Nintendo needs to get on the boat with hard drives.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is rumored to be like 105 gigs on PS4.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but I do one of those things that when I look at how many gigs a game is going to take up on my hard drive, that's a deciding factor of whether I decide to buy it physical or not. Is that a factor for either of you?
I'll buy everything physical because it's about £10 cheaper.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That makes a difference on Switch. For the other systems, it doesn't matter since you still have to install it on the hard drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is an interesting thing. I was going to agree with you there, Gary. Is like here, like I've already pre-ordered Smash, and I get it for like I think 5 or 10 euro cheaper because it's a physical version at Smith's. I pick it up as opposed to an actual digital.
Yeah, so I think that the bigger hard drive is something that people really want, but in execution, it's not going to make a difference because as soon as you slap an SD card in it, it's going to save to the SD card, and all that extra room on the hard drive isn't going to mean jack. So that's the reason why I brought that up. I think it's one of those things that people want, but you will never use if you're a pro player or someone who's big into Nintendo. So people listening to this podcast, you will not use the bigger hard drive.
Well, I don't know. I like Tim's statement here. I think the new Switch is built to take advantage of cloud gaming. So that's interesting. Obviously, kind of, I guess it was a bit of a hot take. We this bit of kind of stepping off of the script here, folks, for our news items. But of course, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is essentially the Assassin's Creed series with a red cap the entire time, released. I believe it was this week on all the other platforms, and actually Nintendo. It is available on Nintendo as part of their cloud service, essentially in Japan only. And again, we'd seen them do this for Resident Evil as well. Guys, would you want to play, like, what do you think of this kind of cloud model of you essentially pay like 20 euro or whatever it is, and you rent it for a year to be able to play it? I would kind of love the idea here of playing Odyssey. Everyone's having the conversation about it. I'd love to see them do it. What are your guys' hot takes?
If I played more games on the TV, maybe, because at least I know they're on Ethernet, so I'd get the best speed and less latency. But I do most of my Switch playing handheld, which then I'm reliant on the Wi-Fi, and that can, depending on where I am, that could go south really quick. Yeah.
Definitely the connectivity, the stabilization is a huge issue with it. Gary, how about you, buddy?
I actually think that cloud gaming is the future of gaming. And the reason I say that is because you're going to destroy the iterations of consoles, basically. You're using somebody else's servers, somebody else's graphical power, everything like that. The only thing that you're going to be using is your screen and your internet. So basically, you can have the best graphical game out there running on the Switch, as long as it could output to the resolution like 4K or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. But I think it is the future to a point. Destroys the Switch a little bit because, I mean, the portable aspect of it's gone then. But, I think it's a good thing. I think, we're going to stop that, well, why can't it come to Switch thing? Because if they say, well, you can have the latest version of this game running, the same as the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, but just not in 4K.
Yeah.
Then there's nothing wrong with that. It's all win. Even if it costs a little bit more, if you want it, then you'll pay for it.
I speaking of the why isn't it on Switch conversation, or is it coming? I'd like us to stop that conversation.
Yeah.
I'd like for people to stop asking, is it coming to Switch, or why isn't it Switch? Because everything's now coming to Switch, which is great, but man, is it getting so bloated now? Like it is exhausting to try and find those hidden gems in there. But that's a little bit of my own rant, I guess. Speaking of things that will probably get ruined and that nobody really asked for, Mega Man and Dance Dance Revolution are slated to get movie releases in the upcoming year or two. Guys, what do you think of Dance Dance Revolution and Mega Man announcing potential movies?
It's the epitome of low expectations.
It really is, isn't it? I think this is my statement in the doc here is why are we asking for this? It was interesting that obviously Capcom made that announcement this week on the heels of Mega Man 11 being released and receiving pretty good fanfare as well, despite it being a complete hot trash of a game that nobody should be playing. I'm gonna take a pause there for whoever's reacting to their phone to yell at me and be like, "I'm just kidding. Take a breath." It's because Marty's not here. I'm going to hot trash and just yell at Mega Man the entire time. Do either of these interest you? Is there any video game movies that you've ever enjoyed?
I have, yes. Okay, the first question, I'm going to watch it. Okay. I am going to expect it to be trash, but I'm still going to watch it. So I said the same thing with the Sonic movie. Pretty much any video game movie, I'll give it a try. A video game movie that I enjoyed. I did like the original Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
And
Street Fighter?
Prince of Persia. No, Prince of Persia I call it a good video game movie, but in terms of movie, it was very mediocre.
Okay. Good. Gary, how about yourself?
Dance Dance Revolution. That sounds like something The Rock's got a star in, surely.
Right. Absolutely, it does.
And Anna Kendrick, The Rock, and what's his name out of High School Musical?
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be in that. So, in terms of films that I've liked, Final Fantasy VII: The Advent Children was a really good film. Also, Resident Evil Regeneration, which people might not know about as much, which is after the live action ones. They did CGI films, which they were okay. They weren't great, but they were okay. But they were enough for me to like them. Mega Man. I hope that this film looks like the box art of Mega Man 1.
Well, yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's like the original Mario Bros. Film. Like they hire someone who's nothing like Mega Man. He's like a 55-year-old overweight guy who chain smokes, and he's like, "Yeah, let's get Mega."
And yeah, then he has the voice from Captain N.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know about this.
Marty is going to kill us.
Do we know anything about the Mega Man film? Is it going to be CGI? Is it live action?
It was announced live action. It was announced yesterday. And the Dance Dance Revolution one as well is live action.
I'm wondering if the villain of Dance Dance Revolution is going to be Pump It Up.
I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I think the better film's going to be Dance Dance Revolution, and that's only because it's going to apply to a range of teenagers, should we say. It's going to be literally like the High School Musical. Mega Man, not so much. I don't know. I'm just really skeptical of Mega Man being a good film.
Yeah.
I heard critics when I mentioned Pump It Up. Are you familiar with that, or no idea?
Not at all.
No.
It's like the DDR made by a Korean company. Instead of a 4-button D-pad that's north, east, south, west, it's a 5-button pad that's the 4 corners and a center button.
Wow, that's intense. That is very intense.
When I first started playing those dance games, that's the system I would play on before I never got into DDR. I didn't like the layout, but I liked to Pump It Up layout better. It felt more natural.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Pump It Up all day, y'all, all day? Yeah. So I mean, I think when these come out, we should do a let's watch as a community. And then do a as we do the Nintendo Dads After Dark, or we used to, we'll do that for like Mega Man and Dance Dance Revolution. Same with the Sonic movie. That'll be kind of some hot takes. It'll be fun. Moving on to some final news items.
All of the copyright strikes.
Exactly. They'll all be copyright strikes. Moving on to the next item on the news docket here, folks. And it's I'm going to be honest with you. It's a slow news week. It's a very slow news week. The NES Classic games coming to the Switch Online console have a date now of October 10th. And there are three new NES games hitting it. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Jesse. It is Solomon's Key, Super Dodgeball, and
NES Tournament Golf.
Tournament Golf. There we go.
We went through these during the pre-show. I thought you were going to be writing them down.
No, I asked somebody. I asked somebody else to do that. I know. I was far too. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Flat Cap. Just get out of my scene. So it was great to see that the 10th was announced as the date for these to update. I wonder if that's going to be constant throughout the entire time. Like we'll see November 10th, the same date as well. And guys,
or the second Wednesday.
Yeah, that may be more the sequencing of it. Guys, any of those 3 NES games that are coming to the Netflix series or the option here, any of them you really want to play?
I'll probably play the golf game once and either like I remember it, or realize this game doesn't hold up as well as I thought it did. I might try Solomon's Key, because I don't remember if I ever played that when it was new. And Super Dodgeball I'm looking forward to. Yeah,
Solomon's Key, as I was saying before, that feels a little bit of a deep cut there. Like that's a throw in deep. Do you know what I mean? Like that's one I don't remember very much.
Your mug scared me for a minute there. I'm like, what is floating there by your head?
It's Buzz Lightyear.
I see it now.
To infinity and beyond. That's a horrible Buzz Lightyear impression. Yeah, Gary, any of these throw some interest to you?
Not really. I mean, I'm tempted to play the dodgeball one, but famously, dodgeball is non-existent in the UK, except in South Park, where Pip is amazing at it. The British guy. It
was legalized, wasn't it? Like they put a legal ban on dodgeball in your country. I think it was a 19. I was reading a document on this. It was 1983. It was a great dodgeball. Dodgeball Depression started with a revolt in Sussex, as I recall, as a small child named Arthur broke every bone in his face because some lad threw a dodgeball at him and it just destroyed him. Guy was in hospital for years, had no bones in his face anymore. Again, guys, you can Google it. It's true, all of it, because you heard it on the internet.
Yeah, and but yet we still run down a hill chasing cheese. So whatever, this whatever England does is what England does.
You guys are weird.
So yeah, we are. I'm kind of interested in that just because. But I mean, you guys heard my rant about the online service. Well, away in Spain, we had limited Wi-Fi codes. Between 5 of us, we had 2. So I couldn't get online with my Switch, and therefore I was locked out the NES games. So I'm still sour.
Yeah. Now you're still sour, but what happened, Gary?
Oh yeah, I paid for it, like I said I would.
Yeah. But still upset about it. Yeah, that's fair, that is absolutely fair. I think there are some things to be sour about.
On the plus side, you called it, so you were right.
Yeah, like it's fine that way.
If that's a plus.
Yeah, if there is a plus to be heard around that one. Yeah. So here's the thing: is I'm going to be honest. Since the NES games have hit my Switch, I have only played them twice. And both times is because I was doing some party event, right? So I played it or 3 times. I played 2 games for the Tecmo Bowl challenge that I was participating in, and then one time when Zach called me, we did an hour stream of us playing games together, trying it back and forth. But other than that, like I haven't jumped in and played Mario 3. I haven't jumped in and played Zelda. It's kind of like it's there, and maybe I'll eventually play it. My wife has played a little bit of Dr. Mario, but there's no huge draw for me to go there. I don't like. And I guess it's one of those things like, yeah, I've played Mario 3 on every other console. Do you know what I mean? Like, do I really need the way you get all these games? You get all these games, plus you get cloud saving, plus you get to play online. So, also I see in the chat here, yeah, 3 games is not enough. They need to be throwing out like 10 a month. By the way, I'm a bit concerned when they're only like 3 every. Like, could you imagine we're getting 3 every single month for like the next years? I think it just becomes
3 new ones a week maybe would have been a more realistic, or at least at least better palatable.
Yeah,
I'm actually again the opposing thought on this one. I think 3 is easily enough. But they need to be good games.
Yeah, that's the rub. And in the original 30, I think I might have played 3 or 4 of them. And I've already gotten my fill out of it. I beat level 20 in Dr. Mario, and I'm probably never going to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
I might play some 2-player Dr. Mario if I find someone who wants to play it. But other than that, most of those games I'm done with already. And
Jesse,
3 more isn't going to last long.
Yeah, Jesse, did you order the Joy-Cons? Or not the Joy-Cons, sorry, the NES pad controller thing?
I did.
How'd that go?
Well, the ordering process was smooth. Now it's just the waiting process because we're not going to get them until closer to Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll have the flip grips before we'll get these NES controllers.
Okay, so how do you order those? I haven't seen it anywhere.
Oh, you have to go. At least there was a ordering page on the special orders, special deals part of the Nintendo site.
So you need to go into like the actual Nintendo page, and then go onto the online side of it, and then you need to go to discounts or whatever. And I think there's a page there you have to sign in, don't you, Jesse? Something like that.
Yeah, then you got to log in, and then it'll verify that you are a paid member, so you can place the order.
Yeah. So, it might be something to check out.
Your ordering page might be different than the one I use because of the European region, but I would imagine the process should be similar.
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo Switch Online as well, this last week, if you qualified for it, as again part of the Nintendo Switch Online program, you would have been sent out your codes for the online jersey and online Squid Kid V shoes for your character to play in the Splatoon 2 game. Interestingly enough, I have a family account, and I received eight of these codes.
I received 8 codes too.
despite only having 4 people registered for my account. So I have 8 of these things.
And you have to be a 12-month subscriber to get them. So if you're only month to month, you wouldn't have gotten the email.
Yeah. 12-month or family, of course, and the family is 12-month as well. Interestingly enough, just as something that I have learned, so my Nintendo account, when I signed up for everything, my Nintendo account is North American. I purchased a EU Splatoon. And
you have 8 codes you can't even use.
I have 8 codes I cannot use. So if any of you out there, by the sound of my voice, have an extra Splatoon 2 EU code, hit me up on Twitter. That would be great. And I have 8 North American codes I can't really use. So I'll be giving those away as well. Let's see. Anything else here for the news, folks? Let's see here. No, I think that's it. Let's jump into our games to keep an eye on. Jesse, we got a bumper for this one?
I don't think we came up with one yet.
Okay, cool. Hold on a second. Gary, are you ready?
Yeah.
Gary, we're gonna introduce the Euro Boyz and Jesse jingle right now. You ready?
I'm ready for this.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Euro Boyz, it's Euro Boyz and Jesse. Jesse. Euro Boyz and Jesse. All right, guys.
I am not keeping that.
Totally should. Totally, absolutely should. All right, guys. So games to keep an eye on. I've got a couple things here that I want to highlight. Juggernauts comes out to the Nintendo Switch next week. This is one of the games that we highlight that you might want to be keeping an eye on. This is very much a Runbow meets Overcooked meets Bit Trip Runner party couch co-op game where you get to swap colors back and forth. Looks like a ton of fun. Make sure you keep an eye out for that one. Tricky Towers is also coming out. If you like Tetris and you like Dr. Mario and you like playing 4 players together on a couch and have some fun with each other, this is awesome. We'll have more coverage of both those games later next week when the embargoes are lifting, but I think those are ones you want to keep an eye on. And of course, next week, Luigi's Mansion is coming out for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, you, Mr. Gary Gray, have actually had some time with Luigi's Mansion when we were at EGX. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, kind of a strange one because I was expecting it to have all the quality of life changes that Luigi's Mansion 2 had. It hasn't. It's kind of strange. It's the same control scheme as Luigi's Mansion 1. So in Luigi's Mansion 2, you use the same D-pad that you moved around with to, like, when you start sucking up the ghosts, you lean it backwards. But in Luigi's Mansion 1, you used to use the C-stick on the GameCube controller. And this is still the same, so you'll use your little nub on the new 3DS. I have no idea how this is going to be played on a DS that's not a new one. And I mean that as in new branded. But it has got some motion control stuff in, so I think it's going to be wired to the motion control. The one thing that I did notice is that whenever we play these demos of games, I try to look through the options to see if they got an options on there. I think this was almost a complete version. They had a ton of options in it. So you had all the gyro stuff. You could set up your flashlight to be like Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, which is like automatic. Or you could do the Luigi Mansion 2 charge thing, where you hold down A and charge it up to flash the ghosts, which is how you catch them. Yeah, so there was a lot of control options and stuff like that. Now, the game is very much just Luigi Mansion 1. So it doesn't look as pretty as 2. But, you know, it's a really solid game. It kind of... it's going to be a full-price game, which is kind of... I'm iffy about, because Luigi Mansion was a very short game. Did you guys complete it at all?
No, I hadn't played it at all, actually.
I've never played it either.
And just as an FYI, for Canadian prices, because I checked the 3DS eShop because I thought about picking up, it's $50 Canadian. 50.
Yeah, it's a very, very short game. But my impressions of it so far is it's if you liked the original on the GameCube, then it might be for you. But as a remake, it doesn't really feel as enhanced as other remakes have. So as other ports and HD-fied stuff is. So it's a bit of a tricky one, but I did enjoy my time with it. We didn't get to play too much because it's so tutorialized at the section that we were in that it was kind of hard to progress. But Nintendo seems to have been really quiet on this Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, it feels like I think that their strategy there was to make sure that they kind of kept it alive a little bit, because of the Luigi's Mansion 3 coming to the Nintendo Switch, obviously. So I think they had to kind of revitalize the series, put it back in the conscious of people, and said, well, why don't we just refresh? If we port it, it kind of helps us generate some more buzz about it. So yeah, it does seem like they have been pretty quiet on it as well.
Yeah, but so yeah, you got that to look forward to soon. I think it's out next week, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's next week. I think it's the 12th for North America. I think it's the 16th for Europe as well. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Cool. Those are the games that we think you should be looking out for. Why don't we jump into the games that we've been playing, shall we? Jesse, let's head over to you, sir.
Yeah, the only game I've really been playing is more Spider-Man. I don't remember what I was at last week, but I'm almost done with the game. I think the where I'm at, I think the game says I'm around 82 to 85%, and that includes all of the side missions. So I've pretty much done everything I can do in the game except for the last round of just combat. Fight the crimes in the city that opens up in Act 3, and I am really tired of the combat. It's the game gives me more toys to play with, but I'm not very good with using those new toys. So I'm still using the same battle tactics that I did at the start of the game when I was figuring it out the combat in the first place. So it's all samey to me. So
right.
I have like 5 story missions left before the end of the story. I'm probably I had to return it again because I was just renting it. I'm probably going to red box it again for one more night, just finish off the story, and then I'll be done with it. I don't plan on platinuming or 100% in the game. I just want to finish the story and get it over with.
That sounds fair.
So again, I still don't see how it's definitely not Game of the Year material like a lot of people say it is to me.
Okay.
So too many things I didn't like about it.
That's fair enough. Everyone's allowed to have their opinions. Speaking of a man who can have his opinion, but I think he's normally wrong, Gary, what have you been playing?
Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh yeah, baby.
See, I told you you were wrong about everything.
So Sega Ages released Sonic the Hedgehog #1, and they added the drop dash mechanic, which is enough to make me buy it again. The drop dash mechanic came about in Sonic Mania and just adds a little bit more speed to Sonic as if he didn't need it already. But this is probably the definitive version of Sonic 1. I think I spoke about it last week, the week before, I think, briefly. But having a good playthrough, there's some levels which are really, really suited to the drop dash, and it makes the game more fluent, faster. There's a lot of options. You could play the original arcade version when you fight basically running against a clock, or the Japanese version, which is faster than the other versions, and all sorts of stuff like that. It's got an absolute ton of options in it. There is a few little glitches and stuff with some of the mechanics, especially the drop dash. If you roll into like a wall or something and then try to jump, you lose your mid-air sort of control of Sonic, which breaks the pace completely. But other than that, I would say it probably is the definitive version of Sonic 1. So it's worth checking out if you're a retro fan or a Sonic fan, or if you're completely wrong like Justin and say that Sonic is the worst game ever, then probably avoid it.
Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Also, I've been playing a game called Torna, The Golden Country, which is the expansion to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now, just for a bit of disclosure, I have not played the main Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and especially when I heard that this was going to be a standalone DLC pack, I thought, well, I'm going to start with this because it's a prequel. I played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, but didn't play X as well. So going from Xenoblade Chronicles 1 to this is so much more accessible. So I would say that if anybody wants to play Xenoblade Chronicles and has no idea where to start, then this would be the game. There's an absolute ton of mechanics, a lot of tutorial, and a lot of reading at the beginning. But as soon as you get past that first hurdle, the game is it's really good. I think it's probably my game of the year. It's it's like I said, so jam packed with things to tweak and things to do that it already I've put like I think about 12 hours in. And this is just DLC. So this is DLC done completely right. Now there is a bit of a weird thing about this, Justin, isn't there? About this game.
Yes, there is. And you can explain it.
Yeah, so it was just meant to be DLC. Nintendo decided it was big enough to release it standalone as a cartridge. I believe that in North America it's out on cartridge. It's also out as a download standalone, I believe.
Yep.
Not in Europe. So I think you can get the physical version. You cannot get the download. So if you download what you think is Torn Out of the Golden Country, you are actually only just downloading the DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles. And guess which dum-dum did that? This guy. So I brought it in advance and then found out that I couldn't play it. So I had to buy Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to actually unlock it. So yeah, £70 DLC. Brilliant.
There you go. Now, actually, Gary, this one has been on my radar, and this has been one that I've talked. I have this kind of history of I'm not a huge JRPG fan. Xenoblade, I've always kind of looked at him that might be the one that's going to get me in. And I wonder, Gary, if this is an opportunity for you and I for me to maybe borrow that from you digitally.
Yeah, I will say that if you're not a fan of JRPGs, then you probably won't like this game.
Okay.
So
I'm going to give it a crack anyway. So maybe we can set that up after show, and I'm going to borrow it from you digitally. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So just for anybody out there, the battle mechanics can be a bit daunting. They can be a little bit. They can feel wrong to start with, which is the first impression I got from Xenoblade Chronicles 1, because basically your character auto attacks, and then all you're doing is commanding the extra. They call them arts, the extra attacks on top of that. They're like the bigger attacks. And then you take control of all your different team members and start switching them around and stuff like that. So it doesn't feel right to begin with, is all I can say.
Okay.
It's like halfway in between a turn-based RPG and a real-time one. So it's strange. But once you get past that, it might take you a couple of hours and you get used to it. Then you kind of realise why the mechanics are like that and how good they actually are.
Okay, very cool.
But a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah,
I like it.
That was one of the reasons why I never liked the original Xenoblade Chronicles, is because I call it like a single player MMO.
Yeah,
that's how MMO combat usually are, is just auto attack with you control the special attacks. And
yeah.
I played EverQuest for more years than I'd like to admit, and I'm just so burnt out of that style of play, so I couldn't get into Xenoblade. And I bought the game 3 times to trying to get into it, and never did. I imported the Europe version when it wasn't out in North America. Then I bought the North America version when it did come out, and then I tried it in the 3DS, and none of them I could get into.
So I was the same as you. I brought it originally when it came out on the Wii, and the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 this is, and I hated it. And then when the Wii U was really quiet, it came out for that. So I re-downloaded it and found that my save actually still worked, even though it was downloadable. And I played the whole thing handheld and loved it. So I think that if you was going to play Xenoblade Chronicles 1, you're looking for a game for new 3DS, then Xenoblade Chronicles 1 might be the game to get on that as well.
That's great. Okay. I like it, folks. That's very, very cool. So yeah, I think I'm gonna borrow that one from you, Gary. We're gonna set that up. We're gonna do a lot of things to test that works. I have been playing a couple things today, or last little bit. I have been playing a game I can't talk about, so we'll have coverage of that one next week. But I have been playing Overcooked 2 DLC, Surf and Turf, and I mentioned last week how excited I was for this, and we here at the Masson family absolutely love Overcooked 2. And Overcooked 2 Surf and Turf, I think it was about €5. I think it's like $7 or $8 Canadian or USD. It's an expansion, 12 new levels, new challenges, new food. It's more challenging for sure, more difficult. If you like Overcooked or Overcooked 2, this is an expansion you need to check out. It's all kind of beach settings, and there's kebabs you need to make, and you need to make burgers and milkshakes. And they've got some new mechanics like a water gun, which is really kind of cool and fun. So I would definitely say check out Overcooked 2, expansion for Surf and Turf. Well worth it, especially if you like family gaming. The other game I have been playing, which of course I'd be remiss not to mention in the absence of him, is Mega Man 11.
Hot take. Here we go. Come on, come on, Justin.
I think Mega Man is, as much as people love Mega Man, I think they look at it fondly in a way they shouldn't. I think it is an atrocity of a game. I think its 2D platforming is some of the worst, and I think it's a franchise character that, if we're really honest with ourselves, no one asked for and no one likes. And we should never, ever support Capcom or any other developer ever making this game again. Moving on to community spotlight. I am joking. I've really enjoyed the Mega Man before, and continue to now. Yeah, Mega Man 11 is great. It is tough. I think, as we all found out from those of you that played the demo, it is a very challenging game, but it's a fair game. I don't ever feel like I'm getting unfairly done because of controls or mechanics. I think the doubles the gear system is a good change. I think it helps to change out, kind of freshens up the series. But it is definitely difficult. I played on normal and I'm challenged. One of the things I have definitely noticed, and I'm playing it handheld, I'm not playing it with my Pro controller, is that missing D-pad. Right, that D-pad is such a foundational. Yeah, I see you showing off that D-pad over there, Jesse. But it's such a foundational feeling for some of those games, and I am using obviously the ones built in the Switch, but it doesn't quite feel right. Doesn't feel normal, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But that's my one critical component of it. But that's more, I have options. I can go play with the Pro controller, obviously. Voice acting is a little bit horrible at the beginning, but like cheesy horrible. It's okay. That fits the series appropriately. I also
like anime horrible.
Yeah, a little bit, but like at times I'm like, is it me, or does like Mega Man sound like Elijah Wood? It's just a little bit of that kind of like high, like, oh no, Dr. Light, we've got it. So it's a little bit, dodgy there, but it's a ton of fun. I'm excited that Mega Man's back, and I'm excited more that this hopefully will reinvigorate the series to be like a Mega Man 12 and Mega Man 13. Because I think Capcom has a fantastic franchise character. As much as I say it's garbage, it's basically just to bust Marty, much like he did for Donkey Kong. But we all have these things that we're nostalgia attached to. But I've really enjoyed it, and I think it's well worth the pickup if you haven't picked it up before as well. I think in the US it's about 30 USD. I think in Canada it's around 40, and I don't know what it is over in Europe. I think it's about the same thing. So those are, let's see if anyone's kind of pointing out that they're angry at me for this. No, everyone seems fine. Okay, cool. Just look at the chat. Let's jump into our community spotlight questions, shall we? Do we have a bumper for that one? Perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much, sir. And the community spotlight questions, these are ones that we put out on Twitter and said, what do you guys want us to talk about? So we're going to run through a couple of these requests here. A couple we've already covered. So Zerato asks about the revision for 2019. We've talked about that. Backlog Belmont. Fantastic. How bad is the non-Tendo uproar going to be over Switch 2.0, even though all of their beloved Switch systems are the exact same thing already? Xbox One, SX, PS4, Slim, Pro. Yeah, I mean, if they do like a seconding version of that Backlog Belmont, then I think that would be, very, very in tune with what the other places are doing. But I don't think it's going to be that big of an uproar. That's a that's an interesting question. Nick asks, what games are you most looking forward to coming out in the last few months of 2018? Jesse, what games are you looking forward to the most?
I have to think about this. I don't have to. Let me bring up my future game list.
Yeah, you do that. I'll throw to Gary.
Yeah, basically, Jesse's just distracted because another Picross game landed.
Yeah, he's
so he's done. For me, wow, I moaned about the first half of 2018 being really slow and dull, and probably one of the worst, sort of most uninteresting 6 months of Nintendo since I've been a fan. The second half of 2018, I'm lost. There's so much coming out. There's Starlink, there's Smash, there's Pokemon. Just so full. So yeah, I think I'm like everybody else. I think Smash is the main one that people are looking forward to, and secondary Let's Go Pokemon Pikachu EV thing. So yeah, pretty much just that. Justin, how about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, obviously, folks, I'm so excited because tomorrow, Super Mario Party is landing, and we are pumped. Like the Masson family, we are having a Super Mario Party night tomorrow night, Friday night, where, it's going to be appetizer dinners, and it is going to be Mario Party all night, and we are going to have a blast. So for me, and for family, we are hyped about that. Like my daughter is asking every morning, how many more days till Mario Party? So that's number one. So I would say, and also I saw someone ask the question of like, will you guys be playing it? Yes, we'll be playing it. Will we have coverage? Yes, we'll have coverage. I intend on actually recording the family playing it together and capturing all the audio. So you may actually see a family get destroyed in 30 minutes. So that's exciting. So Mario Party is big up there. I think like Gary, of course, Smash Brothers, Eevee. And I think another one that is on my radar for an indie game as well is Monster Boy. And that actually the announcement came out from the publisher this week. They have actually pushed it from November into December, but that's definitely on my radar. And then there's a couple other ones that are kind of like floating out there. Like, what's going to actually happen with them? When are they actually going to release date? So War Groove, we're not 100% sure on that date yet. Super Meat Boy Forever, we haven't heard anything about. Firewatch, we haven't heard anything about for a while. And Catastronauts. Catastronauts is every single time is the other one. So I mean, there's a ton of games, and I think even as we look into 2019, like it's exhausting. That there, I mean, I put up that video of like the reasons you're going to be poor in October, which you can check out on our YouTube channel. There's a ton of content coming out. There's so much content coming out, and then of course you've got into November, you've got other games like Brawlhalla and Warframe that are free to play that you can pick up. So there's an absolute barrage of content, Nick. So yeah.
Monster Boy has a date of November 6th.
It has got moved. It was announced today, December. I don't know.
Was it? Oh, that was just today.
That was today. Yeah, the publisher came out.
Nintendo site is still even saying November 6th.
Yeah, FDG, the actual game developer, came out and said it.
Yeah, okay. Nintendo site's still saying that Mighty Number 9 is coming out of 3DS this year, so I wouldn't trust Nintendo site.
Okay, so for games I'm interested in, I already mentioned Jackbox Party Pack 5 earlier in the episode. I'm looking forward to that. Gary mentioned Pokemon Let's Go. Looking forward to that. Other games now it lost me. 7 Billion Humans.
Mm-hmm.
That's again. I think I'm the only one interested in that one.
Yes, yeah, I agree with that.
I thought there was one more here and I lost it, but I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not really looking forward to all the other big games everyone else is. I'm not the Grandia games. I'm kind of curious about those.
Okay.
Grandia remasters.
Right.
I'm not a Smash player. I'm not really interested in Diablo. Not interested in the Dark Souls. So I'm more looking into the smaller games.
And that's why we love you, the Jesse, is because your opinion is different than ours, and it's good. We like it. Great question, Nick. We appreciate it. Mr. Vega asks, what YouTube channels do you guys like to watch? If I was to say, like for Nintendo news or information, of course, going to Game Explain is a pretty big one for their discussions and their content. I always enjoy theirs. Game Theorist is one I've liked as well. Guys, what about you? I'm gonna check my stuff. But what do you guys? Where do you go?
So I subscribe to both of those. On the Game Theorist side, there's also Treesicle and Loxton and Noggin. I forgot how he brands himself now. They're all both on the Theorist side. I like Arlo's videos. More on the news review side, and Roger's base can be amusing. Just he has over. It seems like he's like doing purposely over the top reaction, but really that is how he is.
Yeah,
that is really how he acts, and it's fun to watch it. When I see and I know it's a Smash News, I'm like, I can't wait to see what Rogers does with this.
Yeah. A couple other ones on my list as well is Kind of Funny Gaming. I enjoy theirs. The Score Esports, by the way, is the one you should really check out. That is some fantastic documentary coverage of esports that they do really well. Like, it's a high value they've put into that. I'm really quite impressed with it. Did You Know Gaming is on there occasionally as well. And actually, I would say, speaking of awesome YouTube channels, Mr. Vega, your channel itself is actually really quite well and fantastic. We're going to have you on the show as a guest soon. We're going to figure that one out. But I love the content that you're putting out and the work you're doing with your school and getting Nintendo in front of kids, which is absolutely fantastic. That's awesome stuff. So congratulations on that. Gary, how about yourself?
So I like Arlo as well. I think Arlo's sort of the happiest, most whimsical YouTuber there is on the internet, and he's not exactly human. So that kind of helps. It's a little bit different. And also another non-human is the Lonely Goomba. Don't rush out and watch Lonely Goomba in front of your kids. But I've been a fan of Lonely Goomba for a very long time since I started doing some animation myself. That's how I found him. It's really, really funny, but yeah, just don't watch it around your kids. Same as The Extremist. I really like The Extremist with zero punctuation, but definitely don't watch that around your kids as well. I think there's a trend here, I think. Did You Know Gaming? That's a given. I think everybody should be watching Did You Know Gaming. Yeah. And also Johnny Versus, which is Some Call Me Johnny, I believe his YouTube is. He does like retro reviews, normally by series. Yeah, really cool YouTuber. If you're into retro, check him out.
Nice, I like it. Brandon asks, do you guys give your kids a chance at Mario Party, or do you teach them the hard way? I would say that I teach them the hard way. They have to, it's the survival of the fittest at the Masson family, Brandon. You need to get good to play Mario Party with us. And if you can't, then you need to go back and train harder. I would say that, we give them a slight chance for sure. I mean, if we're definitely seeing them feeling defeated, I think there's an opportunity to have a bit of a parental discussion about, hey, it's a game, and we try and obviously make it fair. And a lot of times in our house, it is if there's an opportunity for my wife and daughters to gang up on me, they will do that, right? So they will do that so that they will probably, 3 versus 1, so they'll win and dad will lose. And it's kind of a little bit of boosting their morale and making them feel good. Because I think when you talk about family gaming and family gaming together, you want to make that an enjoyable experience, right? So you want to help them to get better and to get good. But you also need to have those conversations of like, hey, this, so you didn't win here, and you don't always win, right? You're not getting a participation badge. You're not always going to be a winner. What do you do about that, right? You can either be upset about it, or you can just kind of shake it off and play again. And really, we're just here to have fun and play. That's a little bit of our parenting discussion or our parenting perspective to that. But we'll also, try and where there's opportunities for like, and I know this Mario Party has teams, right? So it won't be like the girls against mom and dad, right? Because that'll cause fighting and arguments. So we'll try and split that up in a little bit of parenting as well. So guys, how about yourself? Any advice there?
I don't. My family really has never enjoyed that series, so that's not a game we play.
Okay, well, that was cool.
And for me, my daughter's too young, so yeah, we haven't played the Mario Party.
Yeah, all right. I don't understand why we invite you on the show, folks. Like you're adding no parental value at all. I have got one that is far too young, and one that is far too old, who's just playing Smash in the background.
Yeah, but
we are now auditioning for dads with children between the ages of 6 and 12.
I mean, I do let my daughter play other games, and she just get frustrated. And she's just turned 4, so you have to sit down and sort of say, it's just a game. You don't have to get stressed. You don't have to get angry. But of course, she's a 4-year-old, so she gets stressed and angry every time.
Yeah, as you do, right? Absolutely. Yeah. All right, our last community chat question comes from Hey, it's Chad, and Chad's question is
Chad.
Hey, Chad. Hey, Chad, Euro Boys and Jesse. It says Jesse's reply. Reggie's reply to why the game chat is on an app rather than on the Switch. So for those of you that do not know, Reggie Fils-Aimé was at a conference recently in Seattle at GeekWired Summit, and the question kind of came up about why it is played on the phone. So I'm gonna come up to the actual thing. After changing the type, so why did Nintendo choose to use, and this is coming directly from Nintendo Life, by the way. So why did Nintendo choose to use an app rather than having the feature run the console itself? Well, Nintendo of America, Reggie Fils-Aimé, discussed the very topic during this week's Seattle's Geek Wired Summit. After changing the topic slightly from a question which he asked about fans' concerns regarding a lack of dedicated server for online play, here's what he had to say. Nintendo's approach is to do things differently. We have a much different suite of experiences than our competitors offer, and we do that in a different way. This creates a sort of yin and yang for our customers. They're excited about cloud saves and legacy content, but wish we might deliver voice chat a different way, for example. What we see is a situation where we know that the Nintendo Switch is being played in the open, at a park, on the Metro bus, and we believe the easiest way for you to connect and have a peer-to-peer experience with voice chat is with your mobile phone. It's always there. It's always with you. So if we kind of break down his PR spin, by the way, here on this one, and I love the statement there of we have this yin to yang with customers. They're excited about cloud saves and legacy content, but want a different voice chat option, essentially. So let's break down. What we see is a situation where we know that Nintendo Switch is being played in the open, at a park, and on a Metro bus. So again, the accessibility of it. So okay, the mobile issue, I get that. We believe the easiest way for you to stay connected is to have a peer-to-peer experience with voice chat. Okay. So yes, you can use your phone to peer-to-peer voice chat someone, but if I was on using your example here, Reggie, of being in the park, the Metro, or the open, I would need a Wi-Fi or dedicated connection to that game, such as a Mario Tennis, to be able to play with people, would I not?
Right.
So
the same thing.
Therefore, it kind of loses a bit of the footing there, unless you all of a sudden create a hotspot on your phone to attach your device to. And I don't think that certain phones allow you to do that, and certain carriers, and that would drain your battery. So, in my opinion, it's Chad. This is PR speak. This is PR spin of not really having a great answer for that. Gentlemen, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And when you said what you said about the hotspot, I tried that once, and I'm able to do some functions, like the basic OS functionality of seeing who's online, broadcasting what I'm playing. That all works, but I tried going into a game that had online functionality and trying to start a new game, and that didn't work. So I think my carrier is blocking those ports. So this isn't, just because I can Wi-Fi hotspot doesn't mean it's always going to work.
Yeah, okay, it's completely a PR spin. I think that if they were being serious and this was the actual way that they were thinking, then their research and development teams need a good slap, because does Reggie really think that people are playing Splatoon online on the Metro? Because they're not playing Splatoon online in a Metro or in a park. They'll be playing a one-player game, most likely. And I think that people only really use voice chat when they're at home. And I think that it's literally just trying to sprinkle a disaster with some sugar and a cherry on top. And it's just... I mean, to be honest, us as fans, we know it's PR spin, so they may as well just be honest about what it is that they're, their problems, their issues, why they can't do it. There's not really much else to say. It's just an answer that is grabbed out the air because it sounds okay, just to avoid the question. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, folks, that is it for our community spotlight area. We're going to start winding out here. But before we do that, I want to make a couple of statements here. First and foremost, our community T-shirt design poll has been closed. We will be contacting the winner very soon to let them know they have won. But I want to say this for everyone who submitted their entries. Absolutely amazing t-shirt designs. And we're going to be reaching out to some other people as well and see if we can still add those to our shop, because some amazing artistry, guys. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for that. Second part, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that can count, for those of you that can listen, next week is episode 200 of the Nintendo Dads podcast, which interestingly enough celebrates us being around for 4 years since our official first launch of the show. And we are excited to do this. We're going to ask you very simply this. If you have any voice clips that you want to send in, or any kind of statements about 4 years or the 200 episode or whatever, it's kind of just going to be a little bit of a celebration of the show for next episode. So we'd love to have, if there's anything you guys want to share with us, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on a voicemail, it's your own video you shoot, whatever it is, feel free to send it in to us, and we're going to play it next episode, in episode 200 on the show here. So make sure you do that. Third thing I want to draw your attention to, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 month away from a very important campaign, which is the Extra Life campaign, Extra Life 2018. And the Nintendo Dads have a team, ladies and gentlemen. We are excited. We've already got members on that team. We have a goal, I believe it of, as $2,000. Tim, I know you're in the chat, so keep me honest here. I believe it's $2,000 that we have set. We are building a schedule so that you can play with us as well, and you know who's online celebrating when for Extra Life. So please, guys, if you're thinking about joining Extra Life, we have a team. We have a team that you can join. If you're like, hey, I can't participate, I don't have the time, feel free to donate to any of our amazing team members who are playing as well. And maybe you're like, hey, I'm not able to do that as well. That's not a problem. Just support and spread the word about Extra Life campaign, whether it's donating to us or whether it's donating to other amazing causes like the Mega Dads team or any other streamer or your favorite content creator who's creating stuff and supporting Extra Life. Please go do that. These funds go to hospitals to help children. And we are fathers, we are parents, and obviously hitting home very closely for the importance of children and health. So please, whether it's us or someone else, support Extra Life. But of course, you should support us. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't go just to Mega Dads, but we're here for you as well. All right, guys. So we're gonna round it out here. Just saying. And there we go. Press 1 if you want Justin to take his shirt off. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that, Josh. Good to see you in the chat.
Oh, sorry, I was rapidly pressing 1. I'm sorry.
Rapidly pressing number 1. Exactly. For those of you that don't know, last year was where we got the gif of me taking my shirt off for charity. My wife distinctly said to me recently, please don't do that again. So that's uncomfortable when your own wife says don't do that, but that's fair. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to round the show out again. Thank you so much to our amazing Patreon producers, our executive producers. I want to call them out right now. Dave White, Dave Ernsberg, and Timothy Alf. You guys are amazing and fantastic. We so much appreciate everything you do for us as well. Of course, thank you to every single Patreon supporter. And if you do want to be one of those amazing people, you can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can follow us on all of the social media. We are Nintendo Dads on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Those are the things we're on. And of course, YouTube, which you can watch our show live as well. Feel free to email us directly at nintendodads@gmail.com. We're on Twitch as well. And if you want to leave a voicemail, go to 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the amazing music you hear through our show, and big thanks to Carter Johnson and Adam Leonard for our awesome artwork. You can, of course, change the world by giving us a 5-star review. I'll even take a 4-star review. If you're going to give me a 3-star review, back off. I don't want it. But 5 or 4, that's fine. Head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course, check us out on VGTribune.com. For myself, for the Flat Cap Gamer, Gary Gray, for Jesse Waldack, for Marty Estes, and for an absent Zach Erickson. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Nintendo Dads episode 199. We love you, and bye-bye.
Euro Boys.
Euro Boys. Euro Boys.
Jesse.
Euro Boys. Yeah, Euro Boys. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Please
I think that was a really good episode. I really do. I think the Euro Boys made it.